The Galactic Council starship glided silently above the blue-green world, its cloaking technology rendering it invisible to the unassuming inhabitants below. Ambassador Lyran, seated in the observation deck, gazed intently at the vibrant planet through the reinforced crystalline panels. The flicker of electric lights and the hum of cities carried faint echoes of a burgeoning civilization. To Lyran's mind, Earth was a paradox, a species capable of crafting beauty, yet steeped in chaos, their broadcasts rife with imagery of war and destruction. "This planet is an enigma," Lyran murmured, her tone equal parts fascination and caution. She adjusted her ornate silver robes, a reflection of her diplomatic station, and turned toward the team assembled behind her. Admiral Kiner stood rigid, his cobalt armor catching the ambient light, while Analyst Vea leaned forward with a barely contained excitement, her bright, analytical eyes darting between the displays. "They're warriors," Kiner declared, his voice gruff and authoritative. "Every intercepted signal speaks to their violent tendencies. This world thrives on conflict." "Or," Vea countered, her voice soft but insistent, "they're storytellers. These could be fictions, exaggerations of their history. We shouldn't jump to conclusions based on incomplete data." Lyran raised a hand, halting their debate. "We won't decide their fate on speculation. A stealth team will gather first-hand intelligence. Admiral, you'll lead it?" Connor gave a curt nod. Within moments, he and his team were descending toward the planet in a sleek pod, cloaked from detection. As they approached, the sprawling urban centers gave way to quieter landscapes. Rolling hills, dense forests, and patches of farmland. The pod landed in a secluded glade under cover of night. Emerging into the cool air, Kiner activated his cloaking suit, rendering him nearly invisible. The team fanned out, their movements precise and practiced. Their first observations were mundane. Humans tending to crops, machines humming along paved roads, children laughing as they played. It was a tableau of simplicity and peace, incongruent with the violent imagery the council had studied. But the calm shattered as they ventured closer to a bustling city. The team stumbled upon a massive field where rows of armored vehicles gleamed under the sun, their metallic exteriors painted with insignias and flags. Soldiers moved with precision, their synchronized drills accompanied by the rhythmic pounding of boots. The air crackled with the sound of engines and the sharp bark of commands. "What is this?" one of Kiner's officers whispered, his voice laced with unease. "A display of power," Kiner replied grimly. "They're preparing for war." The team observed as jets roared overhead, leaving streaks of white against the sky, and tanks rolled forward in coordinated formations. Humans, clad in uniforms, wielded weapons that emitted bursts of light and sound during mock battles. To the stealth team, it was a chilling spectacle, a glimpse into a civilization seemingly on the brink of galactic conquest. Their findings deepened when they accessed the humans' digital archives, intercepting streams of videos and records. The data painted an alarming picture. Earth's history was rife with conflicts spanning centuries. Images of towering mushroom clouds, fiery explosions, and desolate battlefields filled their screens. Worse yet, the humans seemed to revel in these stories, immortalizing them through intricate visual reenactments. "They celebrate their destruction," Kiner muttered, his fists clenched. "This isn't just a warrior species, they're fanatics." Vea frowned, her fingers dancing across the holographic interface as she analyzed the data. "No, look closer. These aren't real. Or at least, not all of them. Many are dramatizations, fictional accounts created for entertainment. Fiction or not, their obsession with war defines them," Kiner shot back. The debate continued even as the team returned to the ship and presented their findings to the Galactic Council. The Grand Chamber buzzed with tension, the holographic displays projecting Earth's most vivid images. Tanks rolling across deserts, soldiers storming beaches, and a mushroom cloud blooming ominously in the distance. The council members, their forms shimmering in vibrant hues and diverse shapes, reacted with gasps and murmurs. "Such destruction," one elder said, their voice trembling. "This species is a threat to the galaxy. We must act." No, another countered, their tone measured. If they are as volatile as they appear, direct confrontation could provoke catastrophe. We must understand them first. Before a decision could be reached, an unexpected signal interrupted the proceedings. On one of the massive holographic screens, an Earth broadcast played in real time. It was not war or destruction, but a global event, a vibrant gathering of people, singing, cheering, and uniting under a common cause. The scene shifted between celebrations of cultural achievements, acts of kindness, and moments of collective joy. Vea leaned forward, captivated. This is who they are too. They're more than warriors. They're dreamers, creators, collaborators. The council fell silent, the weight of the moment pressing upon them. Lyran, watching both the broadcast and her colleagues' reactions, finally spoke. We must engage them, but not with force. We'll extend our hand and offer them guidance, should they choose to accept it. And so the decision was made. The Galactic Council prepared for first contact, knowing they would step onto a planet both fragile and formidable. When they revealed themselves to Earth's leaders, the reaction was a mix of awe and trepidation. At the heart of the meeting, Lyran presented a holographic display of Earth's war machines and fictional battles, her voice calm but firm. We thought you were a race of conquerors, poised to bring chaos to the galaxy. But now we see you for what you truly are, a species of contrasts. You are capable of destruction, yes, but also of creation and unity. The humans explained, with a touch of sheepishness, the nature of their war movies and military displays. The Galactic Council members listened, a mixture of relief and bemusement washing over them. By the end of the encounter, Earth was no longer just a mystery. It was a reminder, to the Council and humanity alike, that first impressions are rarely the full truth, and understanding requires patience and open minds. The Galactic Council starship hovered silently in orbit above the blue-green planet, a monolithic silhouette against the void. Ambassador Lyran stood on the observation deck, her gaze fixed on Earth below. The planet was alive with motion, an intricate web of energy emanating from its surface like a pulsing heart. Yet, for all its beauty, the Council's intercepted transmissions suggested something far darker. The recordings, images of explosions, fleets of war machines, and humans marching into battle, hinted at a civilization steeped in violence. This species has perfected the art of conflict, Admiral Kiner remarked, his tone laced with disdain. His imposing figure, clad in sleek armor, dominated the room. They weaponized their ingenuity. They're a danger to the galaxy. Lyran tilted her head, her silver eyes narrowing. Or they're misunderstood, she said softly. War may not define them entirely. We need more than intercepted broadcasts to make a judgment. That's a risk we can't afford, Kiner countered. What if they bring their chaos to us? Lyran didn't respond immediately. Her focus shifted to Analyst Vea, a younger council member whose curiosity often bordered on recklessness. Vea, Lyran said, what do you think? They're complex, Vea replied after a pause, her voice thoughtful. There's potential for destruction, yes, but there's also potential for something more. We need to see them up close. The decision was made to dispatch a stealth team, with Kiner leading the mission. Within hours, a sleek reconnaissance pod descended through Earth's atmosphere, its cloaking systems rendering it invisible to human eyes. The team landed on the outskirts of a bustling metropolis, where the clash of nature and technology was striking. Towering skyscrapers loomed over patches of greenery, while roads buzzed with vehicles that seemed primitive by galactic standards. As the team moved undetected through the city, they observed a dizzying array of human behaviors. Children laughed as they played in the streets, vendors shouted to sell their wares, and musicians performed on sidewalks, their melodies weaving through the urban cacophony. It was a scene of unbridled life, far removed from the grim images of war the Council had seen. But then the team stumbled upon a military installation at the city's edge. Rows of armored vehicles gleamed under the harsh light of the sun. Soldiers marched in perfect formation, their faces set with determination. Overhead, jets roared, leaving white trails in the sky. The sheer scale of the display was overwhelming. "Are they preparing for an invasion?" one of Kiner's officers whispered. "Possibly," Kiner replied grimly. "This isn't just defense. This is readiness for war." The team accessed Earth's digital networks, pulling up streams of video and data. What they found only deepened their unease. Images of fiery battlefields, towering explosions, and weapons capable of unfathomable destruction. Worse, many of these scenes were accompanied by celebratory fanfare, as though humanity glorified its own capacity for annihilation. "Do you see?" Kiner said, addressing the team. "They revel in this. It's not just survival. It's their identity." Vea, however, wasn't convinced. She scrutinized the videos, noting peculiarities, the exaggerated movements, the implausible dialogue. "These aren't real," she murmured. "At least not all of them. Look here." She pointed to a scene of humans battling alien invaders. "This is fiction, a dramatization." Kiner frowned. "Even if some are fabrications, the real battles are damning enough. They've created weapons capable of destroying their own planet. We can't risk them turning those weapons outward." The team returned to the starship and presented their findings to the Galactic Council. The images and data caused a stir, council members murmuring in alarm as they reviewed the evidence. Some called for immediate action to neutralize the potential threat, while others urged caution, arguing that Earth's complexities warranted deeper understanding. As the debate raged, a live broadcast from Earth unexpectedly interrupted the session. The screen lit up with scenes of a global celebration. Humans of all colors and creeds gathering to sing, dance, and share stories. It was a stark contrast to the violence the council had seen before. The event was a cultural festival, showcasing art, music, and acts of unity that transcended borders. Vea's voice cut through the silence. "This is who they are, too. They're not just warriors. They're dreamers, creators. They fight, yes, but they also heal." Lyran studied the broadcast, her expression unreadable. Finally, she spoke. "We have a choice to make. We can judge them by their worst moments, or we can see them as they are, a species in flux, capable of great harm, but also great good." The council deliberated long into the night cycle. When the decision was finally reached, it was one of cautious engagement. The Galactic Council would reveal itself to Earth, offering guidance and the possibility of interstellar cooperation. The first contact took place in a quiet chamber of the United Nations, where human leaders gathered in anxious anticipation. Lyran, flanked by Kiner and Vea, addressed the assembly. Her voice was calm, yet it carried the weight of millennia of diplomacy. "We've watched you from afar," Lyran began. "We've seen your capacity for destruction, and it frightened us. But we've also seen your capacity for creation, for unity. You are a paradox, and in that paradox lies your potential." The humans listened in stunned silence as Lyran explained the Council's initial misconceptions, fueled by humanity's own broadcasts. When she mentioned the war movies and fictional battles, there was an audible ripple of laughter and embarrassment among the delegates. One leader, a grizzled man with a voice like gravel, spoke up. "You're not the first to misinterpret our stories. Sometimes we forget they're just that, stories. But maybe they say something about us, too. About what we fear and what we hope for." As the meeting continued, a tentative understanding began to form. The Council saw humanity not as a monolithic threat, but as a civilization wrestling with its own contradictions. And humanity, in turn, saw the vastness of the galaxy reflected back at them, a reminder of how small, yet significant they were. When the meeting concluded, Lyran stepped outside to look at Earth once more. Vea joined her, the younger diplomat's eyes filled with wonder. "They're flawed," Vea said, "but they're also extraordinary." Lyran nodded. "Are we all?" Above them, the stars shimmered, vast and unknowable, as Earth and the Galactic Council took their first, tentative steps toward understanding. The Galactic Council's observation ship hung in geosynchronous orbit, a silent guardian cloaked from the gaze of the planet below. From the vast window of the command deck, Earth sprawled like a jewel, its surface a patchwork of verdant greens, deep blues, and soft whites. Ambassador Lyran's sharp silver eyes scanned the planet's curvature, her expression unreadable. Beside her, Admiral Kiner stood rigid, his cobalt armor polished to an unyielding gleam. "This world breathes contradiction," Lyran murmured, her voice thoughtful. "Such beauty from afar. Yet their transmissions paint a different picture. Chaos and destruction," Kiner affirmed grimly. "Every signal we've intercepted is a warning. A species thriving on violence." Vea, the youngest member of the delegation, glanced up from her station. "Or a species trying to make sense of itself," she offered. "Conflict is one narrative, but it isn't the only one. We need to know more before we decide." Kiner snorted, his demeanor a fortress of skepticism. "We don't have the luxury of idealism. If these humans turn their weapons outward, they'll bring ruin to more than themselves." Lyran raised a hand, silencing further debate. "Then we'll observe them up close. Kiner, assemble a reconnaissance team. Vea, you'll join them. We need both perspectives." Hours later, the stealth craft pierced Earth's atmosphere, descending undetected to the fringes of a bustling city. The team emerged into a landscape teeming with life. Pedestrians navigating crowded streets, food vendors calling out wares, laughter bubbling from a park where children played. It was chaotic, vibrant, and oddly harmonious, a world in motion. Yet the deeper they ventured, the clearer the shadows became. The team stumbled upon a sprawling military base, its gates guarded by towering machines of steel. Tanks lined the courtyard, their barrels glinting under the midday sun. Soldiers drilled in disciplined formations, their faces hard with focus. Jets screamed overhead, slicing the sky with precision. "An arsenal," Kiner muttered, his voice low but laced with tension. "This is preparation for war." Vea studied the scene, her brows furrowing. "Or for defense. We can't know their intent from this alone." Their findings grew grimmer as they tapped into the planet's digital archives. Streams of data filled their interfaces. Videos of battles, images of mushroom clouds rising like apocalyptic suns, and weapons demonstrations that could level cities. But mixed within were dramatizations, cinematic recreations of wars that blurred the line between history and imagination. "It's like they're obsessed," Kiner said, disgust curling his lips. "Real or not, they glorify destruction. They're storytellers," Vea countered, her tone defensive. "This could be a way of understanding their fears, their history. We shouldn't mistake art for intent." Kiner shot her a sharp look. "Intent doesn't matter if their actions destroy worlds." Returning to the Galactic Council, the team presented their findings. The images of Earth's war machines and devastating conflicts filled the chamber, casting an eerie light across the faces of the delegates. A wave of unease rippled through the assembly, their murmurs growing louder with each passing second. "These humans are a threat," one elder said, their voice trembling with certainty. "We must act before their chaos reaches the stars." "No," Lyran interjected, her voice cutting through the noise like tempered steel. "They are dangerous, yes, but they are also nuanced. We cannot judge them solely by their worst moments." The debate raged, dividing the council. Some argued for immediate intervention, others for cautious observation. As tensions escalated, an unexpected signal captured their attention. On a holographic display, a live broadcast from Earth unfolded, a global celebration showcasing humanity's unity. There were scenes of people singing in unison, holding hands across continents, and marveling at the stars. The air was thick with hope, a stark contrast to the imagery of war that had dominated the Council's view. "Perhaps we're seeing two sides of the same species," Vea said softly. "They fight, but they also dream. They destroy, but they create. If we engage them now, we could guide them toward their better selves." Lyran nodded slowly, her gaze fixed on the vibrant scenes. "It's a risk," she admitted, "but it may be one worth taking." The Council reached a hesitant consensus. Humanity would be approached, not as a threat to be neutralized, but as a potential ally. The process of first contact began with meticulous care, ensuring that the gesture would be understood as one of peace rather than dominance. The chosen meeting place was the United Nations headquarters, where Earth's leaders gathered in cautious anticipation. Lyran, accompanied by Kiner and Vea, made the descent to Earth, their presence heralded by shimmering holograms in the sky. The atmosphere was tense, a blend of awe and fear thick enough to cut. When Lyran stepped forward to address the assembly, her words were measured but profound. "We have watched you from afar," she began, her voice resonant. "We have seen your capacity for war, and it frightened us. But we have also seen your capacity for unity, and it gave us hope. You are a species of contrasts, and in those contrasts lies your strength." The humans listened intently, their expressions a tapestry of emotions. Some were wary, others curious, but most seemed genuinely moved. When Lyran showed them the images of war that had initially alarmed the council, the reaction was one of quiet embarrassment. "We're storytellers," a young human delegate said, her voice tinged with nervous laughter. "Sometimes, our stories reflect our fears more than our reality. But they're also reminders of what we've overcome and what we must never repeat." Kiner, ever the skeptic, leaned toward Vea. "They make excuses for their chaos," he muttered. "Or they learn from it," Vea whispered back. "Isn't that what matters?" The dialogue continued, each side unveiling their truths. The humans explained their struggles with history, their battles for survival, and their dreams of reaching the stars. The council, in turn, revealed their fears of humanity's potential for destruction, tempered by their admiration for Earth's resilience and creativity. By the end of the meeting, a fragile but genuine connection had formed. Humanity was no longer seen as a threat, but as a civilization teetering on the edge of greatness. The Council offered guidance, resources, and the promise of shared knowledge, extending a hand that Earth eagerly accepted. As the Galactic Council's delegation prepared to leave, Lyran stood on the balcony of the UN building, gazing out at the city below. The lights of Earth twinkled like stars, a reflection of the infinite possibilities that lay ahead. Vea joined her, her expression radiant with hope. "Do you think they'll make it?" she asked. Lyran smiled faintly, her silver eyes glimmering. "I think they will. They've faced their darkness, and now they reach for the light. That's a journey worth guiding." Above them, the night sky stretched vast and eternal, a reminder that the galaxy was wide enough for even the most imperfect of species. And somewhere, in the fragile bond formed between Earth and the stars, a new story began.